Hey BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am here for a tag. It's Tag Tuesday, and I realized recently that I've missed a bunch of tags in the last year. Some of them are a year old. I don't know if I'll catch up on those, but I do have a list, and so we'll see what happens. But I am trying to get to some of the more recent ones that I've been tagged in, and at least stay on top of that. So this is the local haunts tag, which, you know, may be a little bit unusual to do in April, but why not? What the heck? Something different. This tag was created by Dane Reads, and I think it's because of a collection of short stories that include some stories by booktubers, and so this tag was created in part to promote that book. It's called Local Haunts. And I was tagged by Jere at Drawn to Stories. Thank you so much, Jere. I'm sorry I didn't catch it the first time. So here we go. Number 1, tell us about a creepy or spooky place that's close to you. Okay, so there is a house, and it's one of the older houses in our community. Old is relatively speaking, depending on where you live in the world. So I think of horses and carriages and that sort of stuff. So this house, I've seen pictures of the inside. It's beautiful. It's huge. It still does have the carriage house. It has like a place where you clearly would have pulled your horses or carriage into. Yeah, so it's spectacular, and it's been for sale for a really long time. I'm not sure why. I also heard there were tunnels underneath the house. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never been actually inside the house, but it has a huge evergreen tree out front, and that tree is usually full of vultures. So there is something really, really creepy about it, even though the house itself is beautiful. Okay. Question 2, a stone's throw. Tell us a story about a young female character who has had a tough life. So, I mean, I don't know how young she is in this book, but not as... She's more of an adult. This is Smillicents of Snow by Peter Hoeg. I apologize to those of you who speak Danish, who I'm not pronouncing that last name right, but Smilla is a fantastic character, and she had a very hard life as a young child. She grew up in Greenland. Her mother died, and her father decides to take her back to Denmark, to Copenhagen. But she understands snow in a way that most people don't. She's very, very smart. She's a scientist. Anyway, and she's also just like incredibly hostile. Like, she's a character you love, but she's also just has no people skills in some ways, and befriends a young boy in her apartment building who dies. So anyway, this was also made into a fantastic film starring Julia Ormond. So I recommend this when you're looking for something snow related to read. So question 3, Crowthorne. Tell us a story about harmful friendships. So for that, I picked Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. It's been quite a while since I've read this book, but I think, so I'm not really sure if I would say Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell were they definitely weren't friends the whole book, but this has just some really, really atmospheric and intense scenes that those have stayed with me for sure. So anyway, it's a huge book. We do own, Jason and I own, I think there was a film adaptation of it, and we do own it, but we've never watched it because Jason hasn't read the book. So let's see. Question number 4. Tell us about a movie that scares you and is based on a true story. Okay, so I'm kind of turning this question around, but this is a really funny story. You guys will enjoy this. So when the Blair Witch Project came out, I had been living in France the whole summer, so I didn't know anything about it at all whatsoever. And my mom happened to say something to me, and she just said, "Oh yeah, like these kids went out into the woods and filmed this movie, and it's getting all this attention." Like, but that's it. Like nothing else really about it. So then, fast forward a little bit, one of my friends from out of town came to visit me, and we went to see it. And again, I went in totally blind. I really had no idea what I was getting into. It's not the kind of thing I would normally go see at the movies, but I didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. And it's filmed like a docudrama, so I actually thought it was real. I thought it was like, so when the end of the movie happens, I just kind of freaked out and like grabbed my friend. What happened to them? Like, what happened? What happened after? And he was just sort of looking at me like, Kelly, it's not real. But I thought it was. The whole time I watched the movie, I was sure that everything I was seeing was real. And yeah, so it was a one-of-a-kind movie watching experience, I must say. All right, question 5, the Mount of Death. Beer me. Tell us a story where a drink plays a role in the plot. And I'm cheating again. This is not a novel or a story. This is a play. But Hamlet, I think we could definitely say that a drink plays a big part in this book. But of all the Shakespeare plays I've read so far, Hamlet is by far and away my favorite. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So glad to include that in there. Question number 6, the Blocked Cellar. Tell us about your favorite horror, paranormal, or true crime YouTube channel. I don't watch a whole bunch of things that are channels that are focused on horror, but one of them that I do is Mindy's Book Journey, and it doesn't have anything to do with the content necessarily of her channel, but she also lives in Wyoming, and I do hope that eventually I'll get to meet her. Yeah, so she's a few hours away from us, and I really encourage you to check out Mindy's channel. She does read a lot of horror, but a lot of other things too. So question number 7, the Night Watchman. Tell us a story that's set partly at night. Well, okay, so I'm not so sure about, yes, like things in The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters, they do take place at night. I actually think, though, the scariest scene in this book it takes place during the day. And there is something that is, like, when you can make a scene scary in broad daylight, I think there is some real power in that. So there is a scene that takes place in a nursery that it just makes my hair stand on end kind of thing. So yeah, so I really, really enjoyed that part of it. And Jason and I often talk about that scene in particular. Question 8, alone along the gum trees. Tell us about a story that takes place in the wilderness. Okay, so I have read a few things about the wilderness. And this is actually, I tried to keep most of these books kind of scary a little bit, or at least have some sort of element of that, with the exception of this one, which is Where Rivers Change Direction by Mark Spragg. And this is his memoir of growing up on the state's oldest ranch. I think it was first established in 1898, and he, as a very young man, is forced to, work on the ranch and take care of tourists and those sorts of things. The title of this, in case you're not familiar, has to do with the Continental Divide. So the Continental Divide is the place in, I guess in North America, where it's determined whether water is going to flow to the east or to the west. And of course, water is very, very important in the West. Lots of fighting over water rights. But yeah, so the Continental Divide is sort of it's kind of a special place, and the elevation is typically very high. So anyway, I love Mark Sprague, and I hope to read one of his books here shortly. I did want to throw in, though, just something scary that does take place in the wilderness. It's also set in Wyoming. This is Wind River, starring Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. And yeah, so this actually, I mean, this is not a true story, but there are elements of the story that are true and are horrifying, related to Native Americans and people who live on reservations. So yeah, so that is in of itself terrifying. But the movie is just, it's tight. There's no extraneous things or anything like in it, but it's really, really gripping. I'm a little surprised that I've watched this movie multiple times, because again, it's not the kind of, it was sort of the thing, when I saw it initially, I thought, oh, I'm never gonna watch that again. But I really enjoy the action, I guess, of it, and the suspense, because it's just, yeah, it's suspenseful all the way through. So all right, question number 9, Highway to Hell. Tell us a story that involves music. Okay, Carm, I needed your help on this one if you're watching, but this was what I could come up with. So this is Henny Mankel's Faceless Killers. This is the first novel in the Wallander series, the Kurt Wallander mystery series, which I think is 10 books, and then there's a collection of stories related to Wallander. Wallander is a fantastic character, and one of the things that just sets him apart from other maybe detectives in mystery series is that he really loves opera. So I always thought that was a great thing about Kurt Wallander, and this is a very, very scary book, Faceless Killers. So I have not read all of the Wallander books, but I hope eventually I will get to all of them. So they're very, very good. Question number 10, or I guess it's not a question. At the end of the rope, tag some BookTube or HorrorTube friends. So I do want to tag Mindy's book journey in this. I'd also like to tag Revenant Reader. And then, just because of the name of his channel, and I don't think he watches my channel, but what the heck, I'm just going to give it a shot. And I'm going to tag Ghost Reader. So I thought that would be appropriate. Jere, thank you so much for tagging me in this. And Dane Reeds, thank you for creating this tag to promote a book that involves some of our friends. So BookTube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.